There are a number of studies that show it is not so great for our health and our well-being to sit for 4 to 8 or more hours a day. And the studies also show to mitigate that, we need to be moving 60 to 75 minutes of some sort of activity, right? Ideally, like a good brisk walk is great. And if you can get other things in, that's also great. Now, I find it's not always feasible for people to have a 60 to 75 minute chunk every single day of their life, but you might be able to break it off into 10, 15, 20-minute segments throughout the day. And taking those regular breaks can accumulate and help build into that mitigation of the health detriments that come with sitting for so long. Starting standing, we're going to do something simple, nothing crazy. Have your feet a nice comfortable stance for your body. And you're going to take one arm, you're going to flip the palm forward, you're going to bring it across your body, overhead, up towards the ceiling, and then as you reach behind you, you're going to flip your palm down and back. And if your neck and head will allow, you're going to let your eyes follow that. You're going to do 3 in each direction. And then you're just going to go the other way. And I am allowing myself to move. When I go back, when I reverse my direction, I'm doing palm up as I go back, palm down as I come forward. And I am crossing the center line of my body, allowing my body weight to shift, allowing my eyes to follow my hand. If that makes you dizzy, keep your head centered. Try the other side. Palm up as you bring it across, palm down as you bring it back and down. Palm up as you bring it across and up, palm down as you bring it back and down. Keep going, one more. Just doing 3 in each direction. If you like this, keep doing more. Reverse it. You're going to do palm up as you go back and up, palm down as you go forward and across. Breathing, because you probably haven't been taking nice deep breaths because you've been focused on other things, and that's okay. And then shake it out. Just shake out your arms, shake out your legs. Bring your feet as close to parallel underneath your hip joints as you possibly can. And if you want to do a little Pilates V, you can bring the heels to touch, whatever's right for you. So if you've got your heels touching, you want to lift the heels up only as much as you can keep the heels together, right? So you base your V kind of off of that. Can you keep your heels, your inner thighs, your outer hips all active as you lift up and lower down? If you're parallel, just try and think, I'm not going to roll out or in with my ankles. You're just going to lift up and lower down. Simple calf raises, because again, you've been sitting. We kind of get a little stagnant in the ankle mobility, the ankle movement, the lymph there, but most importantly, the venous blood flow return. That's really important, and it can be facilitated through that ankle and calf movement and activation. Really the ankle movement, calf muscle activation, particularly through a muscle called your soleus. So whatever variation you're doing, heels together or just parallel, you're going to do 3 more. If you need something to hang on to, you do that. And there's a lot of details we could pick out here for alignment and stuff. I just want you to get your ankles and calves moving. I don't want you to overthink it. You've had enough brain work. You've been sitting working, so just take a break. All right, then you're going to step your feet wide. You can go about shoulder stance. Maybe you need a little wider, maybe a little narrower. Some people are going to need a little bit of turnout, so if that's you, turn out a little bit. And you're going to squat. And when you squat, I want you to think about reaching your butt back. I don't want you to think about staying upright. I don't want you to think about arching your back. I want your belly to kind of like a knee press to the back body as you stick your butt out. And you go down the mount that's right for you and come back up. Going down, maybe down is just here. If you're there with your desk, you can think, I'm going to sit in my chair. Oh, I forgot something. I got to get back up. Oh, I'm going to sit down. Oh, I forgot something else. I'm going to get back up. So sometimes we can trick our brains into doing that. You got about 3 more of these. So again, not a ton, because I want to make it efficient for your time. And my arms just do whatever feels good to you right now. And then if you're on a mat, you're going to step to one end of your mat. We're going to make our way to the ground. So step the feet a comfortable stance, or if you want to do a little more Pilates traditional, you can cross one foot over, but we're going to be squatting and trying to get all the way down to the ground from there. So in this traditional sort of squat stance, you're going to go down. You can use your arms. If you can do this, if your knees, your hips, your back will allow, you can do that. Or maybe it looks more like I squatted down, I take my hands down, Then I bring my knees back, and then I come to sitting. That's fine. Third option, or another option, one leg comes over, I do my genie arms, and you control as you sit down, Pilates style. All right, from here, you're gonna rest on your back. You're gonna reach your arms up towards the ceiling, clasp the hands together. You're gonna inhale, reach your knuckles up towards the ceiling, let a breath in. As you exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades onto the rib cage and onto the mat as you exhale. Inhale, going up. Exhale, squeezing back. Every time you exhale, you can imagine you're just sinking into the mat. Flip your grip of your hands. Inhale up. Exhale, squeezing and drawing those shoulders. I'm really like squeezing my hands, squeezing the back of my armpit, my shoulders onto my ribs. One more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Then separate the palms, but have them face each other. So fingertips are pointing up and the palms are facing each other. You're going to bridge up like a glute bridge style. So press your feet down into the ground. You can have the feet together, a little bit apart, whatever feels comfortable. Reach your knees out over those middle toes. Keep your belly and your organs falling back or contained as you bridge up. Once you're up at the height that feels right for you, that your back's not leading, your belly's not pushing out, right? Your hips are doing this. Then you're going to stretch your arms overhead, taking the thumbs to the floor above your head. Now, if your shoulders are real tight, this is going to be tough, so you might be kind of a foot off the ground. Hold your arms there. Think about someone pulling your arms one way and someone pulling your knees the other way. And on your exhale, start to roll down, trying to get those ribs down. Now, as you get the ribs down, you're going to feel this tug in your shoulders and your arms. Keep reaching. That's what we want. We want that little yawn between the upper psoas, between the posterior aspect of the diaphragm and the arms and shoulders as you roll all the way down. When your hips are all the way down, your butt is down, bring the arms back up towards the ceiling. You're going to do that again. You're going to bridge up. Knees reaching, belly and back out of the mix, right? Belly contained, arms reach. Reaching the arms one way and the knees the other way as you exhale and roll down through your spine all the way to your butt. Bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Last one like this. Pressing down, reaching. You can feel like you're getting a little hip flexor stretch through here. Reach the arms overhead. Wake up the tush, right? Breathing and then rolling down like you're trying to make your waist longer than it was. And then bring the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Hands down by your side. You can have your elbows bent if that helps keep your shoulders down, or your palms down, whatever works. And once you bring your feet all the way together, keep the heels together and just separate the ball of the foot and the toes. Keep the ball of the foot and the toes where they are as you lift your heels up and swing your heels to be in alignment with your toes, where it feels like your feet are parallel and pointing straight forward. That's what you're going to do, your next bridging. And this is just going to be straight glute bridge. So you work on your hip joint mobility. So a little bit of belly just to contain. So just take your hands to your waist, take a breath in. As you exhale, just feel like you're hugging everything to the center. So there's a little like saran wrappy from the outside in happening. Press the arms back, press the feet down, and bridge up. And I don't care if the bridge is this high, right? This might be where you are right now. You're like, oh my God, my hamstrings and glutes. Have not done anything today. Feet, are they rolling out? Are they rolling in? Are your knees opening out or in? Keep them on a parallel track. Think railroad track here between your hips, knees, and feet. As you lift up, working through your hip joint. Inhale, just tap the butt down. Exhale, lift up 2. And 3. Feel your feet push down. Make sure your neck and throat are open. The weight, when you lift your hips up, should be in your feet and your shoulder blade upper back area, not your neck. And 5 more. 4, 3, 2, last one. Come all the way down. From there, take your arms, clasp the hands, rock the arms side to side. Let your head rock with that, but keep your pelvis and knees center or stable. So my butt is not moving and my knees are not moving, and I'm rocking my ribs and I'm rocking my shoulders and my arms and my head almost as if that's crawling away from my pelvis. Then I'm going to come center. Separate the arms, shrug the shoulders onto the rib cage or onto the mat. Notice if your ribs are down on the mat. Find a place where your back is not tensing away from the mat, right? It's going to have its natural curve probably, give or take more or less on any individual body. And you're going to think, can I get my head, my shoulders, my ribs grounded? Now, to get your head here and your rib cage back, you may need a little head padding. So definitely just like fold the mat over, use a shirt or a towel or whatever you've got. Then I want you to bring your feet together and lift the heels up. On your next exhale, you're going to choose, do I want to lift one leg or both legs at a time? You're going to exhale and make sure that your ribs didn't lift and your pelvis didn't rock, your head didn't get a tug. I can already feel my head going to get a little tug there. Try not to let your head get a tug as you bring your legs up to your version of tabletop, which could be 90 degree at the hip, 90 degree at the knee. Could be a little dropped foot, right? Could be a little closer in. That's going to be easier on your belly. And if your belly is still just building strength, then you might need that so that your back doesn't start overworking. So if you start to feel your back overwork here, two things. Check in with your alignment against that mat. Might need to pad up the head so you can get your ribs anchored. And two, take some of the weight off of it, right? So drop the feet, bring the knees in, whatever you need. All right, so what you're going to do here is opposite arm and leg are going to go away from each other. You could do this with one foot down and just do one diagonal for a few times and then the other, right? So pick what's right for you. We're going to do dying bug, which is a pre-Pilates kind of situation. So your opposite arm and leg, foot dips down towards the mat, arm reaches overhead. You're going to breathe there. Breathing into that mat, that back body. Exhale. Think about that arm and leg drawing back towards each other. Try the other side. Inhale. If you're just doing one leg up and the other foot's on the ground, just stay on one side for about 3 and then switch to the other side. And please just make it accessible to you. There is no, don't think that it's less than or wrong to keep one foot down and just do one side at a time. It's just, we all have our own processes and our own path. So just go with what feels right. One more time on the other side. Stay there. Now hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side. Feel your whole back. Get a little massage on the mat. Come back to center. Figure out, can you get those shoulders, ribs, pelvis anchored into the ground as you bring your legs back in. Now you're going to bring your arms on either sides of your legs and kind of grab the shins. We're going to do this with our head down. You certainly could do it with your head up, but if you've been at a desk all day, that might be tricky on your neck. So just for the sake of keeping our neck elongated, our throat elongated, think about growing through the crown of your head. I even sometimes will press gently my head against the mat. You're going to feel, as you take your hands to your shins, you're going to pull in, shoulders onto those ribs, pull the ribs back. Now, as I did this, I didn't curl my whole butt up. I kept it kind of grounded. Now, you are going to take your arms out and your legs out, away from each other. Now, you may be like, oh, I got to go up towards the ceiling with my legs and my arms. That's where I am. You might be out. So I want you to go with whatever's right for you, but wherever you are, you're going to circle those arms around and bring the legs in. So the variation on double leg stretch. So I'm keeping the head down rather than taking it up. Lengthen through the top of that head. Remember, we're trying not to get that tug of our head down towards our feet. We want to know that we have the strength to lengthen in opposition to the weight of those legs and the weight of the arms reaching. Pull it around. Breathing, reach. Pulling the arms, circling the arms, pulling the legs in. One more. Inhale. Exhale. From there, hug the knees into your chest, rock around a little bit, and we are going to come to your hands and knees. On your hands and knees, you're going to do a little shoulder shrug. So similar to when you were laying on your back, you're going to push the floor away, push through your shins, push through your hands as if you're pushing the mat through the ground. And then you're going to slowly kind of release that and squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then you're going to press the ground away. That's going to wrap the scapula around your ribcage. Now notice if you start to hike those shoulders up towards your ears and your chin starts to lift, and so the distance between the base of your skull and your shoulder starts to shorten, I want you to mitigate that by lengthening all sides of your neck and keeping your shoulders on the rib cage, not attached to your neck. And then release, squeezing the shoulder blades together. One more. Press and widen those shoulders, wrapping them around, keeping your neck long, and then shrink and shrug the shoulders together. Then press and find a happy medium. So you're thinking about pushing the ground away with your hands and your shins. Hug the arms a little bit to the center and hug your legs a little to the center, as if you had a line down the center of your mat that you're just being magnetized towards. Then you're going to curl your tail under, rounding your spine slowly, going all the way up to your head. Once you're there, you're going to breathe, and then you're going to allow your tail to go up. Then let it ripple through your lower back, through your rib cage, through that part of your rib cage that's underneath your shoulder blades, all the way through your neck and your throat and your head. And then curl the tail under again, rounding, 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 rounding. And then going up with the tail rippling through your spine, all the way through your head. One more. Tail curls under, ripple and round through your body. And then tail goes up, rippling out through your head. And then find a happy medium. Maybe you need to wiggle a little bit there. Walk your hands a little forward and your knees a little back. Don't go too much to start, or maybe you go bigger and then you have to adjust. Now, I want you to still actively push down through your hands. The activation of the arms here is pretty important because it's going to pertain to this stretching and lengthening from really kind of like the humeral head, the armpit, shoulder blade, all the way down to your lower back and even into the hip joint and the pelvic floor. But I want you to keep your arms active so you're not just like passively stretching and collapsing into any joint. So you're going to push through your arms. I'm thinking about pushing my mat away from me as I keep my belly lifted, as I hinge in my hips and stretch back. So I'm pushing down through my hands. Belly stays active. Breathe there, and you should feel this stretch from the lower back across the ribs into the scapula here. And if you can press the arms down, you'll feel that connection even into the shoulder joint. I am not doing a child's pose. It's more like a upside down hinge. And then you're going to pull, like you're pulling the mat underneath you as you pull forward. Think back to bridging with your hips and your glutes here as you come forward. Are you still pushing the mat away there? And just breathe and hold there and lengthen. And then you're going to shift the hips back, pushing the ground away. I want you to now go back, and I want you to stay there. I want you to take one hand over to the other hand, but keep your hips reaching back through the center. Keep pushing down through your arms. And if you feel like you can't get leverage through the hands, there's a couple of things. You could put your hands on something higher, or you could tense your fingers and push down through the fingertips as you do this. I'm just trying to make it where you have as few props as needed, right, as necessary. And then you're going to separate the hands, and you're going to pull forward into that plank. Practice pushing the ground away. Hug the legs together. Squeeze the glutes. And think your organs are lifting away from that mat. Breathing there. Then push away one more time. Breathing. Take the other hand over to the stable hand. Now, immediately my hips want to shift, but I'm going to try and keep my knees and my hips centered, my belly lifted. Use the tinted hands if you need to, so make little spider fingers. Breathing there. And then separate the hands so they're centered. And then pull forward into that plank. Stay there for a second and breathe. Maybe you just bend the elbows. Just bend and hold for a second and be like, oh, did I collapse everything? Or can I keep it lifted? Can I keep those shoulders away from my ears? My elbows hugging in, my whole hand pushing down, my belly lifting up, my glutes engaged. Can I keep all of that? Just practice. And then extend the elbows. And then what you do is walk back with the hands or walk forward with the legs. You're going to bring one foot forward. And all you're going to do is go forward and back. And I want this to be mobile. I want you to think about actively pushing through the front foot, actually pushing through the back shin. And then you'll straighten, lifting the toes up. And then you'll go forward. If you want to add on, you're going to bend that back knee. You could even rotate and reach back towards that back foot. Now, it might look like not touching your leg. It might look a little bit more like I'm just here somewhere. You know, it might look different. And then you're going to attempt to straighten this front leg. Now the straight leg might be super bent, right? And that's fine. And then one more like that, coming forward. And stretching back. And then bring that leg out to the side. As you bring it to the side, toes are pointed forward. You're just going to shift back and forth 3 times there. Again, actively using my arms, and I'm not, you could go slower, you could go faster. You're going to bring that leg underneath you, and you're going to go the other side. Bring that leg around. Going forward, allowing yourself to have a little stretch here. You could also bring yourself more upright. It changes the stretch and the pull, makes it a little more psoas-y, iliacus, which is really nice if you've been sitting. And then attempting to straighten the front leg, reaching, thinking heel forward, hips back. And then you go forward. If you want to add on, you can bend that knee. It makes a little bit more quadricep. But again, this upright might be a better call for your body right now. You just listen to your body. And straighten. One more like that. And I'm not staying in any one position for too long because I don't want you to overstretch. I want you to feel like by moving, you're getting this glide of your tissues, activation of the muscles, movement in the joint, movement in the surrounding tissues. You're going to take your leg out to the side now. And you're going to use those arms pushing. You're going to reach back. And that you're not dropping into overstretching the tendons, which is how the muscle connects to the bone, and certainly not the ligaments, which are bone-to-bone connectors. So I want to make sure that you are getting the glide, and the yawn of the tissue, the movement of the tissue, but not overstretch anything. Bring that leg that's out to the side underneath you. Walk your hands forward again. Tuck your toes underneath you and push through those arms, activating them as you stretch your hips back, and breathe there. As you breathe here, let your breath go into the belly, the sides of the body, and even the back body. Make sure the toes are tucked under. From there, you're going to look between your hands. Make sure your abs are engaged. Make sure your arms are engaged. Shoulders onto the rib cage. On the count of 3, you're going to use your arms and your feet to help you push right out into a plank. So you're going to come forward, lift the knees off, reach the heels back, push the ground away. Inner thighs facing each other, lifting up. And then you have the choice to walk your hands back or your feet forward, whatever works for you, and come back to where you started with your feet underneath you. Press down. Use your legs to bring your pelvis upright, ribs, shoulders, head, and you're done. And now you're well on your way to mitigating all the detriments that come from sitting for long periods of time. Make sure to like and subscribe this video and tune in for weekly mindful movement content for everyday people. And until next time, keep moving.